Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today it comes at us from Michael. Jacob Collier, Summer Rain, featuring Madison Cunningham and Chris Thile at Mahogany Sessions. I'm looking forward to this. All three of these musicians are phenomenal. Seeing them collaborate here is going to be a real treat. So let's dive into this, see what they're bringing to the table today.
Two heartbeats on the floor, candlelight, angels at my door. No silver lining, I don't masquerade inside the flame, but I miss you like some rain. Shadows on the wall, borderline, I thought they'd never fall. Worlds colliding, I don't catch a wave, my summer rain. I can't breathe without you, I won't walk away, I feel the pain, but I can't bleed without you.
Yeah, I like Chris's part there. The offbeat, the downbeat, and then the offbeat, and allowing that to suspend. Da-da-da, da-da-da.
Kiss me to my core, paralyzing. Hold me where I'm sore. Never mind it, I don't know your name or feel your shame, but I miss you like summer rain. Don't love you anymore.
Ooh.
You held me down before, never asking why I'm so afraid to walk your way. I'm so free without you, I won't feel the rain, won't feel the same. I'm alive without you. Without you, feel high, but I miss you like summer rain.
But every night
Ooh.
but I can't sleep without you near. I close my eyes, wish you were here.
Dude, these harmonies. Yeah, dude, so good. So good. I really like the story being told there just on the purely harmonic level. When it initially kicked off, just with Jacob on the guitar, Chris came in with very light mandolin work, but that was, I don't know, it took a moment. We were just starting at the beginning with guitar, and immediately within the first two chords or so, I thought, summer rain? This feels more springtime to me. There's a brightness to it, an optimism to this moment. And I feel like a lot of this track kind of veers a little bit more towards that direction. I don't really get summery vibes out of this. Right here from the start, though, very vibrant, very green, very uplifting, very freeing. I get the, visions of green hillsides and just running through them. The sun coming down, a nice bit of warmth, not too hot yet. It's vibrant, it's life. Chris brings in an interesting turn to this, though. Chris bounces between a couple of ideas. Chris is constantly moving, primarily working around chord shaping, while dancing into the realm of melody, occasionally counterpoint to the lead vocals, but quite frequently working within the realms of harmony more often than melody. And it's the modification to the guitar's harmonic palette that I think really starts to sell the directionality of this song. There is a vibrancy to the beginning, but it isn't consistent throughout the song. And I think once the first verse kicks in, we begin to see something darker seeping in. At the time, I didn't know what this was. It's a bit too nuanced for me to say immediately sorrow or even grief. But I think ultimately, especially because of where the bridge ended up taking us, I'm going to say that it was an element of longing creeping in. I think if I listened to this again, I'd probably be confirmed in that. But retroactively, longing is what I think that section was trying to portray and introduce to the listener prior to the song really diving into that sound. What's interesting, though, is that it is a type of negativity creeping into the track that is being juxtaposed to the joy, the vibrancy, the color of the guitar work. Much like rain on any day, summer, winter, autumn, spring, the day typically starts out rather bright, and then the clouds roll in before the storm starts. There's this anticipation. I think that's what this sort of represents to me. It's that moment when you can smell rain on the horizon. You can see the dark clouds coming in. Maybe they're far off, but you can feel the wind. They're definitely coming this way. Maybe they are overhead. It just hasn't quite started raining yet. Maybe even the sun hasn't been covered yet. This anticipation. The rain will be here sometime, but for the moment, we still have generally bright weather. There is beauty through all of this. I think this is particularly present in the second verse, when Madison ends up taking over lead vocal lines. We have this call and response between her and Chris. Chris primarily, as I mentioned, is chord shaping here in a more melodic fashion, but occasionally will feature these little ornamental runs while Madison is taking a breath, while she's, taking a bar and a half off for the passage, the chordal progression to resolve itself and for her next sentence to begin to be sung, for her next line. And Chris will kind of fill in this space. And I love this mixture here because all of this feels interconnected. And when I look at the harmonic palette here, you can start to see more and more of this combination between the light and the dark, the positivity and the joy, and possibly the longing. Most human experiences tend to be more nuanced than purely mad, purely sad, or purely glad. And I think this song does a really good job of capturing the multifaceted experience of the human condition, particularly in this place, which I very much think that this song lyrically is going to be going in the direction of wanting something that you can't have, or maybe can't have yet, being paralleled to a storm coming in and then eventually leaving. This moment where, generally speaking, in literary terms, rain is usually a dampener. It is dark times, the heavy clouds, rainfall keeps people inside. I'm an introvert, so I look at rain positively. I love rain. Rain is probably my favorite weather. But, most people don't. You see it in film, you see it in literature. It's just usually a negative signifier, and I think that's how it's going to be used here. The moment when you want to do something, possibly leave the house, is the parallel, but maybe we're going to be exploring something else here, using the rain as a metaphor, and not being able to yet. That mix of anticipation and excitement with longing. A little bit of positivity, a little bit of negativity. And this song finds the negativity at its peak in the bridge. This was a gorgeous, I believe, modal change. And I believe Jacob led it as well. I think the guitar was the first instrument I noticed that was really strong on this shift, but the entire group moved into the bridge simultaneously. And it brought so much darkness in. Almost as if there was a hopelessness, a light hopelessness being presented, as if there was a possibility that this storm will never leave. And these ideas are running through the mind. I'll never be able to go outside again. The storm just seems like it is forever, which is actually pretty appropriate for me because just earlier this week, we had like 2-3 days straight of rain. So yeah, it's been pretty dark and gloomy for most of this week for me. Although we're not in the summer yet, we're just in the spring. So anyways, I really love this moment because not only is it great musical writing to create contrast in the bridge, to shift up the harmonic palette, to enter into something new, but I also think that it works really strongly and resonates with the storytelling of the song. Coming out of this into the outro of the song and bringing some of that positivity back in feels phenomenal. And this is the general experience I have in this track, is this multifaceted approach to longing, the excitement, the anticipation of it, the positive elements of, when I get there, this is going to be great. I can't wait to do this. I'm so excited for it. But also the pain of waiting, of not being able to do it now. And then, of course, the delayed gratification that we get at the end towards the finale of this track, where all of this sort of comes back to a positive lens like we saw at the beginning of the song. And it's almost as if the rain has now passed and we can go do what we were wanting to do. And this presents this feel-good moment in the song. And we kind of go on this roller coaster ride that starts pretty high, slowly dips down, hits a bottom, a little valley here. We explore that for a little bit, come back up, and find that joy and positivity again. Yeah, just very well done. And the entire trajectory of this track is phenomenal. It is simple on the surface, but there's a lot of micro adjustments in the harmonic palette, little sections that might dance outside the lines, little coloring with notes from outside of the chord, just to create some extra texture in little sections from individual instruments. This isn't a whole group moving towards this direction like we saw in the bridge, but Chris did this a lot, just pulling a note in from another key just to color this one for a second and give it a tinge of something brighter or something darker. Lots of foreshadowing going on in this track as well, and it's done so phenomenally well, taking all these slightly more complex ideas, working it into a more digestible overall package, and presenting something that I think anybody can enjoy. But particularly if you're stronger with music theory, you're going to find a lot of cool stuff on the harmonic side of things to dig into on this track. Now that's just like the main overarching idea here. I don't think that there's much more I can dive into on larger scale topics, so I'm going to focus on some smaller ones right now. Harmonies, dude. Harmonies. And also acoustics. Going to kind of work that in here as well. The instruments don't really resonate as much in this area, but I think so much of that is that they're played a bit quieter. You may have noticed that this song is highly dynamic. There are some very quiet sections and some very loud sections. But the vocals, I think, consistently work within the acoustics of this room. There is a wide reverberation on the vocals. Initially, it kind of threw me off. I wasn't a big fan of them, particularly because the guitar wasn't having this large of an effect. And I felt that there was albeit an acoustic production, but a production difference that was too large between the guitar and the vocals here. But eventually I came around to really enjoying it. And I think that it creates a larger than life element to this track. The surface read here, of course, is the storm, weather, the planet itself, and how it operates is very larger than life. I mean, it is, the planet is life. It's larger than humanity, though. And I feel like the vocals bring that element to the song while also keeping it very rooted. It is just 2 to 3 people singing. It's a very small, intimate idea presented in a very large way. And I came around to really enjoying the thematic elements to this, especially as the vocals can be a bit on the quieter side in some places. In others, they're completely booming, working together, the harmonic elements, multiplying the volume of these voices, singing together, just creating these massive sounds. And I think part of that, probably once we hit the lyrics, we'll be able to work into the metaphorical element of this track, kind of viewing past the rain metaphor into whatever the song might be actually talking about, if there's another level to it at all. But to create a heightening of the emotional landscape present here. And all of this, I think, works together really well because of how great their voices sound together. The specific harmonies they chose to sing had a little bit more complexity and depth to them. We're not just, octave harmonizing like we see in a lot of pop music. We're not looking at just the stable intervals, good old root, third, fifth, and octave. We actually have some really neat harmonies going on here, and that doesn't even take into looking at what the instruments are doing and providing harmonically to the vocal chords. There's just a lot of really powerful moments in here that, once again, coming from a music theory perspective, lots of depth. And I really appreciate these moments, but also their voices sound great together. The texture layering is phenomenal. It's always a joy to listen to people whose voices just work. They just interlink. And I think the 3 of them here are certainly those types of voices. But then to also have the reverberations, the natural acoustics of this area amplify all of this. It's a powerful moment, especially in the bridge when we have, I think, the peak as far as volume and harmonic layers. We have all five instruments here, all three voices and both acoustic instruments performing simultaneously. And it is just, it's an incredibly moving moment. And it is their performances, it's how their performances interact with each other, it's the acoustics of the place, it all just elevates the work. I think if you put this composition into MIDI, you're still going to be flabbergasted by it. But I think that the performance here elevates that even further. This is a song that already has a strong compositional component to it, but the performance itself, it makes it even better. And I think that's about it. It is, on the surface, a bit of a simple track. We have a verse, chorus, bridge, outro, possibly, maybe bridge, chorus. I wasn't listening to the lyrics, but we did have a bringing down of the energy towards the end of the track, which could have been an outro rather than a chorus. That's pretty standard. There's nothing super experimental or avant-garde in here. The instrumentation is harmonic with a small lean towards melody. So we're primarily focusing on that, creating atmosphere for the melodies to sit on top of. There's a lot of elements in here that make it a bit simpler. And I hesitated saying that because I don't think it's a simple song. Again, I think there's a lot of complexity that's wrapped up in a very digestible package. But I think that the digestibility of it, how easy this is to listen to, I think even if you aren't a big fan of this sort of stripped down, lighter, folkier music, you would still find enjoyment in this. There's a lot of beautiful components to it. And I think even if you listen primarily to poppy mainstream music, that's incredibly easy to listen to, I still think you can find enjoyment in this despite its complexity. It's one of those songs that I think is just written so well that it almost creates a timelessness and a genrelessness to it. Not to say that it itself doesn't sit within a genre. I still think it's sort of in that indie folk realm, but that it really doesn't matter what genre you listen to, you can probably enjoy this song. It crosses over so many boundaries of digestibility to complexity, but also from emotional weight to melodic catchiness to layers to performance to production. There's going to be something in here for everyone, no matter what you enjoy in music. I suppose unless you only enjoy dissonant death metal, in which case, yeah, there's not a lot in here for you, but maybe you'd enjoy the darker part in the bridge. So maybe there still is something for everyone in here. Let me hit some lyrics on this. We'll see what's going on. Really interesting, the lyrics here. It's a song that focuses on the end of a relationship that is bittersweet. The chorus states, I get by without you, I get high, but I miss you like summer rain. I'm still living life when you're not by me, but I do miss you. We see at the end of the verse 1, it says, I can't breathe without you, I won't walk away, I feel the pain, but I can't bleed without you. There's a hyper focus on needing the other person to simply exist. That their blood itself does not run without the other person in their life. They may get cut, but they won't bleed without them nearby. Their life is stagnant. The core essence of life, the blood moving through a body, which helps every portion of the body function, ceases to do anything. There is no circulation in the body, no life present in the body without this other person near. I find it really interesting how verse 2 contrasts this. It says, you used to kiss me to my core, it was paralyzing, you held me when I'm sore, never minding. But I don't love you anymore. I'm providing. You held me down before. I'm so afraid to walk your way, and I'm so free without you. I won't catch the rain. I won't feel the same. but I'm alive without you. This mixed feeling here. They definitely are more free. They are existing better in life. They used to be held down by this relationship. Granted, it says specifically, you held me down, so maybe it was less the relationship and more the person, but they were being held back from their potential. It says that I'm free without you. And I think this is interesting because sometimes a relationship, whether that is a friendship or something more romantic, it can hold you back from achieving your goals. And so it hurts to put your life goals in front of your happiness, your social elements, your romance, and say that that's less important than achieving what I want to in life and making that hard decision and end up missing someone and what they did for you, what they meant for you, because you want more out of life than that. This idea of being a bittersweet breaking off, of missing someone still for who they were for you, but realizing that you've made the better decision from this mindset that your life goals, that your career, that something in your life is more important than this relationship, even as important as that relationship was. We come back to the bridge. It says, and every night I feel so tired, but I can't sleep. Without you near, I close my eyes and I wish you were here. There's no regret here. There is simply what I understand is an understanding of the situation. I don't think that they regret severing ties with this person, but that life is tough in different ways without them. They may be freer, they may actually be achieving what they want to in life, but this component, the social component, the romantic component, is dwindling. There's so many elements to this that makes life harder than if they had stuck with the relationship. And the outro just says, I miss you like summer rain, which is cool. Because summer rain here is not the part that hinders the person figuratively. It's the part that they look towards, which is like me. I'm an introvert. I was talking about how much I love rain, how it's something I look forward to, especially in the summer, especially down here where it's super hot. We get a little bit of reprieve from the heat when the sun gets covered up and the rain begins to fall. Although the humidity skyrockets after that, and then the rest of the day really sucks. But the rain itself is really nice and something to look forward to. And I like how this song sort of subverts the trope where the rainy day is the bleakness, it is the darkness to avoid, and here it is the thing that they miss. It doesn't really talk about what the summer rain is, though. Everything in here relates the relationship or the feeling of this person to summer rain. So I feel like there is a positive element to it. But there's also a negative one. This relationship is something that they felt restrained in, held back in their life for being within, as if it was still something that would impede progress, much like rain might stop people from going outside or going to the park and having a good time. Maybe you want to go out to the beach, but it's raining, right? Especially in the summer. So there is, I think, much like everything else in this song, there is an emotional complexity to how all of this sits. I would really like to hear, I assume Jacob wrote the lyrics here, but maybe it was a collaboration. Yeah. It says all three collaborated as writers, just generally, but doesn't say who the lyricist was. I'd love to hear their perspective, though. I know it's completely outside the scope of the song, but what is it about summer rain that was the metaphor that they felt applied to this? Because I get it, but I also want to hear them speak positively about summer rainstorms because I love connecting with people on that wavelength. Yeah, very cool song, captures a lot of emotions, And there is no right or wrong here. There is simply prioritizing things. And I think that that feeling of ambiguity, of positive and negativity, as far as emotional feelings getting interwoven and worked together into something that you can't really classify as a happy song or a sad song or a bittersweet song. It's sort of everything all at once. Is very human, and it's captured in the lyrics and the music phenomenally well. These are my thoughts. Jacob Collier, Madison Cunningham Chris Thile. What did you think of Summer Rain? Is there anything you enjoyed in this? Anything you'd like to add on to what I said? Correct me on? Do you have your own perspective on this, your own take or opinion? Let me know. Put all of that in the comment section below. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. Takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.